Hey everybody, this is Ori from Circuit, and I'm going to show you how to use Mailchimp in this tutorial. So what is Mailchimp? Mailchimp is a email newsletter platform that lets you add subscribers, manage them, and send out email newsletters very easily. But in addition to the ease of working with this, you also have a lot of custom features, really good features. And so there's a free account, and of course there's a paid account, which has many more features, and of course dependent on the number of subscribers that you have. Okay, so of course, I've already signed up, and this is a test video so you can see. So we're going to go through kind of all of the important things, and then if you do have any questions and you want a more detailed video about something specific, please comment, ask us, and we'll be happy to do so if we can. Okay? Perfect. So let's actually go here, and I'm logged into this example account, and right now I'm in the dashboard. Okay, so I logged in, and the first thing you want to do is actually go to the account section when you register. And the reason you want to do that is in order to comply for newsletter standards, for spam acts, things like that. In order to be correct and legit for your emails, you need to set up your account. So the first thing you want to do is actually go to the account, and this is the actual overview. Okay, so if I click on settings, I'm going to go to the contact information right here, and you're going to need to fill in some of your contact information, your business name, your address, your email, etc. So these things are needed to be placed in every single email on the footer to comply with the standards and the laws for email newsletters. Okay, so that's the first thing. Very simple. All of the other settings are really related to your user itself and the security. So I'm not going to really go too much into detail, but you can add more users to manage your account, things like that. So pretty simple, just invite a new user. Okay. Security is basically making it more secure to log in. So putting, for example, a second or a two-step or two-factor authentication and enabling it. So you want to do that to keep your account secure. Of course, you need a secure password, etc. Okay. So the next thing that's very important is right here, that what you call verified domains. So by using Mailchimp, you're basically asking Mailchimp to send emails on behalf of your domain, right, to your customers. So in order to do that, Mailchimp actually needs you to verify and give some kind of authorization to Mailchimp to send on your behalf, or else you know, any system could send emails on your behalf and then spam your customers from your domain. So what you basically need to do is you need someone that is understanding DNS records. It's very easy. Basically, you're just going to look here on your domain itself, and you're going to follow these two steps. So the first one is typically just the email verification of your account. Make sure you register with the domain with an email on the domain that you want to send from, so then you can verify very simply when you register. The second thing is you want to actually do the authentication. So you're going to follow these steps here, and it basically tells you to modify your DNS records and basically add a DKIM and a text record. So very simple. I just did that right now. So once you do that, you just click on authenticate. Okay. Now sometimes it takes a while, but in this case, because this is a new record, everything is good. So now Mailchimp is authorized to actually send for us. Okay, perfect. So some of the other things we're going to skip right now: manage my data, pause or delete my account. Okay, billing, of course, for paid accounts, and extras, for example, API keys for integration with other platforms, for example, maybe your website or Magento or WordPress or any other platform you're kind of working with that is not included in integrations. Okay, so what are integrations? By using Mailchimp, you can actually connect data with other accounts or other platforms in order to enhance it. So the most common things are, let's say you have an e-commerce platform or a website, you want to connect your Shopify or your Magento website to the platform. So Mailchimp already has some ready integrations, and they have some others that you can connect. So for example, a very common one that we're doing is connecting Google Analytics. So what that basically does, it'll enable us to receive more information and sync between our email newsletters and the Google Analytics data. So when someone, for example, clicks on my email and goes to my website, I want to know which campaign they actually click from so I can track better what I'm doing on my accounts. Okay, I don't want to just create newsletters and hope for the best. I want to use data to actually enhance them and make them better for the business and for the user, etc. Okay, so really common ones, for example, would be okay, let's say, Shopify. Anyone who purchases from you, it'll sync to the Mailchimp account, or maybe Magento, etc. So you're going to follow these. So in this case, let's just do Google Analytics. You click on it, you authorize, click, and you move on. Okay, perfect. The next one is transactional, and that'll be covered in a different video. But basically, Mailchimp has another service called Mandrill, and what they do is they send what we call transactional emails. So for example, if you have an e-commerce site, when someone registers or someone buys or your system ships, an auto email gets sent to the customer. So if you want to integrate that, you're going to integrate with Mandrill. It has its own fees. It's a very good system, and it tracks data and open rates, errors, things like that. Very, very good service, but that's a very different video, and then we will create it in the near future. Okay, perfect. So now that we have the settings, now we can actually start going on. So let's actually start from list. Okay, and what we need to do, the reason I want to start from list is that in order to create a campaign, you actually need to first be able to have subscribers to send it to, right? So without subscribers, you cannot create an email newsletter. So that's the first thing. So let's create a new list, okay? And let's click here. Okay, so now in this list, this is a specific list that I want to gather, and I'm going to create a new one. Okay, so list name, let's call it video 1 test, and the default from address when I send the emails would be, let's say this, info@circuit.com, and the default name would be Circuit. Okay, now I have to specify how people actually signed up to this list. Okay, so for example, it might be let's say a form on my footer, or let's say form on circuit.com footer. Okay, great. Now here's again the same address itself that I'm going to put on my footer, and this has to be mentioned. These two have to be mentioned in every email. Okay, and if I want, the next one is if I want to receive notifications, for example, a daily summary of my subscribers, how many subscribed, how many unsubscribed, things like that. Okay, so I'm just going to click on save for now. Okay, and now I have a new list. Okay, right here. Okay, so in my list now I'm going to have these tabs themselves to see stats, manage the subscribers. I can create segments, which are a great thing, and groups. And sometimes you don't want to send one specific email to all of your subscribers in that list. So for example, maybe we have, let's say, 10,000 subscribers from the website, but maybe I want to create campaigns or email newsletters that only send to male or only send to women. So then I'm going to start grouping them into larger groups by using groups, and then into much smaller groups by using segments. Okay, so we'll kind of go over that shortly. Okay, and then you can see import history and some data about your subscribers. Okay, the next one is you can add a subscriber. So let's add one right now. Okay, so I'm going here. I would just type in their information. Let's say test@circuit.com, test 1, and the first name would be John, and then last name Test. Okay, so here I can actually upload them one by one. Okay, now of course for spam reasons you need to make sure you have permission. Okay, so you're going to have to checkbox that if you did get that right, and then click on subscribe. Okay, so if you do that, now the customer will be added to a list. So if I go here to manage subscribers and view subscribers, now I have this right here. Okay, Let's go here. So the second way you can add subscribers, which is the more common, is actually have a CSV, maybe an Excel sheet or a text file, or integrate it with things like your Google Contacts. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example how you do it actually in a CSV or an Excel sheet. Okay, so I created a simple Excel sheet before just for this, and basically I'm using Google Docs, but you can use Excel, it's the same. Basically, the first row I created the headers, the names of the actual fields for each column. So first name, last name, etc. Now, the default, you can just have email as the minimum, but in this case I just added first name, last name, email, and sex. Now, in order to create better campaigns, you want to try to always get as much information as you can about the customer. And so based on that, the more information you have, the more segments you can do and the more targeted emails you can send. So for example, what we mentioned before, if I know a customer is male or female, that might help me create something better for them, maybe design-wise, text-wise, product-wise, etc. And so Mailchimp, one of the really good things about it is it'll actually enable you to get additional data based on how they actually interact with your past emails, okay, your past newsletters. Okay, so once I create this, I'm just going to go here, file, download as, and I'm going to make a CSV, okay, a comma separate value, okay. And what I'm going to do here is just go here and select CSV, click on next, and just import it right here. Click here, and excuse me, downloads, CSV. Okay, let's see here, and right here. Okay, and then I can go and click I understand that if I have additional subscribers, my plan will upgrade. That's fine. I click on next. Okay, and once you do that, now Mailchimp will process your file and it'll go column by column and confirm that Mailchimp understands what column it'll actually map to its own columns. Okay, so for example, if I wrote here something like, I don't know, taste, maybe I'm selling some kind of food or something, Mailchimp doesn't know what that is. So let's look at that for a second. So in this case, I knew that the first one was column name. I'm going to click on save. So I know that this is a first name. This definitely I know is the last name. So Mailchimp so far has recognized that correctly. Email address, I also hear examples, and this is the column name. Good. Now in this case, let's go back for a second. The sex, it didn't know what that actually means. Okay, so what you can actually do, and this is very, very important for the segmented emails, is actually specify that. So let's click on edit, and I'm going to actually create a new column right here. Okay, so I can use any of the ones here, but in this case I don't have anything. So let's create a new column, and I'm going to first specify what is the type. So is this something that is always a date or a number or a birthday or a zip code, or is it something different, for example, text? So basically text means it'll just have a value. So text in this case could be male, female, other, things like that. So that basically means some kind of text. Okay, if it's only if the value of this column, these values are always going to be a number, I would select number. Okay, so this is correct. Let's click on save. And I can click on next here. Okay, so now you're all ready. Everything looks correct. Okay, how will I categorize these imports? Of course, they're subscribed. I can also unsubscribe people by the CSV import, and that's it. And I can click on import. Okay, so now I have them in my list. Perfect. So now that I have my list, I want to go over a quick overview of what's happening on subscribers. So Mailchimp will specify, if you go to manage subscribers, which is the page we're on right now, it'll show you actually the information about your subscribers and all of the fields that we imported right here. Okay, now one of the interesting things that it has here is member rating. So based on your subscriber data and how they interacted with your newsletters, you'll get an automatic Mailchimp member rating. So what is that? So by default, any new email that's populated or subscribed, they'll have a 2 out of 5 stars. That basically means there's no history. We don't know what is happening. All we know is they subscribe to this list, and that's it. Now, the more or the less that they interact, that's how the star rating will change. So for example, if I keep on sending to these 2 customers emails over, let's say, once a month, let's say I send an email to them, but they never open emails, then the star rating will actually go down to 1, for example. Or if they unsubscribe, of course, they'll leave this list. If they interact a lot, maybe they occasionally open my emails, then they might get a 3-star rating. Okay? If they open my emails and they click on my links, and they always open the emails, they might get a 4 or 5-star rating. Okay? Perfect. So this is very, very important. Okay, so I want to show you a test I did before just to prepare for this video, and I created another list before, and I sent an email there. So I want to show you one more thing that is happening. Okay, so I basically sent an email to this Yahoo email right here. I just sent a test email before. Okay, and so if I click on a specific user, I'll have more data. Okay, this is the name, this is the first name, last name, when I subscribed, when I added it, or when it was added to the list. Okay, and what is the star rating? Okay, and then you'll have some more information which you can edit manually, maybe if they made a mistake. Okay, what is their time zone, detected languages that Mailchimp will understand based on the opening of emails. Mailchimp will be able to understand what language your browser is in, things like that. Okay, which email you typically open in it, right? So in this case, it'll basically be able to populate additional information, as I mentioned before, based on your history. So in addition to what you enter, so first name, last name, email, etc., Mailchimp will start gathering more information if your subscribers are opening your emails, and they'll know which browser they use, and if it's a phone or a desktop, which language, and many, many other things. Okay, where they actually signed up from. Okay, so next one, activity. So here you'll be able to see their lifetime activity, basically what happened. So I've sent one campaign to them. This person has opened all of the campaigns, in this case just one, and you can of course sort by date. Okay, and they've actually clicked on links within the campaign itself, which you'll understand a little bit better. Okay, and because this is a new account just for this video, one thing you'll actually have, which I cannot show right now, is you'll be able to see how they interacted with every single email. So for example, newsletter 1, which was sent to them, they did not open. Newsletter 2, they opened and clicked. Newsletter 3, they didn't open, etc. So you'll be able to see kind of a nice timeline. Okay, so let's look at right here. So notes. These are kind of your own notes that you can add to the subscriber to kind of give yourself more information about that subscriber. Okay. Conversations, email, e-commerce, and goals. These are very important additional data about the customer itself and how they interact with your newsletters. Okay, so we'll have to go into that into a different video, but this is very, very important in order to track how they actually interact with your emails, and especially things like if they clicked on your email newsletter and then they purchased from your website. And in order to kind of add these things, the goals, the e-commerce, you'll basically have to add some more coding or add some extensions to your website in order to feed back from your website conversion data back to Mailchimp. Okay, very, very powerful things, and we'll hope to create some more detailed videos about that in the future. Okay, and then next one are basically social profiles. You can basically sync that person's subscriber, additional information, maybe their Twitter account, things like that. Okay, perfect. So let's go back here to our list. Okay, again, we're on the list right now. Let's go here. And we were in this list before. Okay. Now, in addition, there's a few other things I want to show you. Okay. So first of all is sign up forms. Okay. So what that basically means is when we created a new list, I know I skipped through a few different things, but when we go through to get a new list, we first set up the list in Mailchimp, but now we actually have to get the subscribers. So the method that I showed before is to actually add them via CSV. So assuming that you actually have a subscriber list from before. But in many cases, you want to actually create a new list and you don't have subscribers. So what you need to do is create a sign-up form. And what you need to do is first create the form and then figure out where you want to embed it. So for example, a form might be on your website, right, on your footer. A form might be on your checkout page. A form might be on your maybe a link from your Twitter account, things like that. Okay, so what you want to do is actually figure out what type of form do you want to create. Okay, so maybe just a general form, or okay, so let's actually start with this. Okay, so here's a sign up form. You'll be able to actually create it right here. You'll be able to build it. Okay, so this form itself, I can build it. I can go. Okay, I can add some more data here. Okay, right here. And let's say I want to add another form. Let's actually go back here for a second. Sorry. Okay, so right now we're on the build tab, and I can create a message right here. Okay, this is a test. Okay, click on save, and I want to edit right here my header, which is subscribe today for news updates. Okay, and I can of course use this editor to add images and bolding and links, etc. So I can use this whole thing. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. So this is a test. Great. So now my email, excuse me, now I can, every time I click on a specific field, I'll be able to actually edit that field right here. Okay, I can add a new field here by clicking on it, and I can actually edit the field right here. Okay, so maybe this is called, instead of email address, I'll just call this email. Okay, and then the type of field in this case, of course, is just locked to an actual email account. And the reason you have this field tag is it'll actually map to your specific column called email. Okay, is it required? Yes or no? Is it visible or hidden? Okay, let's click on save. Okay, and now in this case, let's actually delete this. Okay, delete. Okay, so now this email newsletter right here will have these 4 fields, and the reason why it has these fields, okay, are because my list actually included, when we imported the list, we actually had email, first name, last name, etc. So if I want to actually remove it and simplify this, I'll just actually delete. Okay, and I can simplify it right here. Okay, so once I finish editing this, maybe I add a new field, maybe let's say radio button. Okay, let's go here, field settings. Okay, 1 second. Let's go here for a second, field settings. Okay, perfect. So now the name would be select an option, okay, or maybe something like how did you find out about us? Okay, and then option 1 would be radio, option 2 would be Google, and option 3 about this video. Okay, if I click on save, now I'll have this kind of radio button. Okay, great thing. Okay, so let's go here, and now, okay, so now that I finished, basically my sign up URL will be right here. So I can basically send people to this URL once I finished. Okay, let's save this. Okay, let's go here. Okay, so now I can basically give people this email to actually subscribe, and they can actually go to the Mailchimp hosted form and they can fill it out. Okay, and once they fill it out, it'll automatically go to your specific list that you created a sign up form. Okay, so this is option 1. So using Mailchimp to host your form. Option number 2 is to actually create an embedded form. Okay, so basically you would do the same kind of thing. You would create a list right here. Okay, and you have different types. Okay, very small ones, very wide ones, etc. And you can actually customize them more, right? Customize the CSS, the style. Okay, so once you actually create these, you would actually take this entire code and then you would paste it into the code of your website. So very, very similar to the other one, but in this case, you're hosting on your website the form. In the other case, Mailchimp is hosting the form for you. Okay, so let's see what other options we have. Okay, next one are basically integrations and subscriber pop-up. Okay, so pop-up is also an embed on your website, but instead of being somewhere, when someone clicks on some action, they'll be able to see that as a pop-up, the subscriber. Okay, so we're going to skip it right now. They're all kind of similar. I just want to go through the next steps. Okay, perfect. And then the last one are settings themselves. Okay, so here you have additional settings. For example, the list settings, the list name, the default settings that we set up before. Okay. Okay. One of the nice things you have here are the actual new subscriber notifications. Okay, so you can set additional notifications that when a subscriber adds, you'll be able to receive additional notifications. Okay, so you can add this. I'm not going to add it right now. Okay, you can also send a final welcome email, things like that. So very, very nice thing you can do. Okay, next one are the actual. Let's look here. Publicity settings. Okay. So let's do this. So I can promote my campaigns. Let me try to remember what this is. Okay, perfect. So this is basically a feature that you can actually set your campaigns to be public or private. And basically you can, in addition to having your customers see them after you send the newsletter, you can also have your customers share them via social networks for other people that are not subscribed to the email newsletter. And if you do that, if you want your campaigns public, then you can actually do that, and some of your subscribers can share it and then expand upon your list or expand upon your exposure of that email newsletter. Okay, perfect. So let's continue to the next thing. Okay, next thing is list of field and merge tags. Okay, this is a very important part. So when you create your email newsletters, and we're going to do this in the next step, you sometimes want to actually set up dynamic tags. Okay, what that basically means is when you create the email, let's say you always want to specify the first name of that subscriber in every single email. So because you have a list of many subscribers, you're not going to start writing every single email. That's what this platform helps you. So what you're going to actually do is figure out the actual mapping of the columns that we imported before, right? So email, first name, etc., and then figure out what is the actual tag that you're using in order to import that. So in this case, first name is mapped with fname. Okay, now of course I can change that later on, but let's just keep the default. Okay, so fname, I'm going to copy that, and then later on when we create our campaign, we'll see what's going on. Okay, perfect. Okay, so these are basically kind of the important things right here. Let's just run through the other ones. Okay, important email footer content. You can specify how the person actually on the footer, how they actually subscribe. So great for spam laws. And you can actually specify the details, or you have to specify the details of your business so they can unsubscribe easily and figure out who is sending them these emails. Okay, perfect. Okay, great. So now let's move on to the actual creation of the campaigns and the templates. Okay, great. So first thing I want to do is go to templates. Now, before we create an actual campaign, let's figure out how the campaigns, how the email newsletters are going to look. Okay, so I'm going to click on Create Template, and I'm going to actually start using either the basic, the themes, or I'm going to make my own via HTML. But in this example, I'm just going to show you ready ones. So let's go here to basic, and I'm going to look at something that's interesting for me. Maybe I want something. Let's actually select the simple one. Okay. Let's go here, and I want to click on this one. Okay, so once I click on it, I'll be able to see a preview, and if I click on every single element, I'll be able to edit them very, very easily. So let's go here. Okay, select, and here I'll be able to see my previews, and here I'm actually editing things. Okay, I can preview, I can test, I can move on. So let's start right here. So first of all, I don't even want this top part right here. Let's delete this, and now I want to actually edit an image. So if I click here, I can browse from my computer, and I've already uploaded something before. If not, you can upload from a URL or from your computer. Okay, so if I click upload, I'll go to my computer. I click here, and I want to select. So now my image is here. Now I click here, and I'm going to actually edit this. Okay, so hello. Okay, and then I'm going to paste that F name, if you remember. Okay, and this is a test, and I can use, of course, image uploads and bullet points. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and all of the simple things that you're familiar with other websites or with Word, etc. Okay, I can change the font, etc. Okay, now when I finish, let's actually, you know what, I want to really remove this stuff. Let's remove it. Let's also remove the social sharing and this. Okay, now, so let's say I want to add more elements. I can go here to the right, and I can actually drag things to the left. Okay, so let's drag it. So I created a buy now button. Let's edit it, and I don't want to call it buy now. I want to call it read more, and I want to link it to maybe Circuit blog. Okay, let's click here, and here I want to actually create a little more text and just specify this is more text. Okay, and I click on save. Okay, so now I created my email. Of course, it doesn't look the best, but this is just for an example. Okay, perfect. Now, of course, you can also use this for more editing of specifics, so maybe color, size, borders, etc. So you can use this, but this is a much more common. As long as you've selected the template you like, this is much more easier to work with the content itself, but you have the option to do this. Okay, so let's click on preview and test. So let's enter preview mode. Let's look at it on a full screen. Here's how it looks on desktop. Here's how it looks on mobile. Looks pretty good actually on mobile. And here's how it looks in Inbox. So Inbox is basically a paid service, an additional kind of pro service that lets you automatically preview how the different email clients, for example Gmail or Yahoo Mail or Hotmail or etc., how the actual it'll preview. And the nice thing about this, and in this case it's kind of an add-on feature, is that different mail clients show your different mail clients open your emails in a different way. So for example, a very common one is maybe Yahoo Mail sometimes by default does not load images. So and Gmail does, for example. So knowing that will actually help you make your emails look better and plan them and create them better to have a better user experience in the beginning. Because if you're, for example, if Yahoo Mail doesn't load your images by default for security reasons, if your entire email is only one big image, then you might have an open rate. You might have, or may not have, someone open the email, but they're not going to see anything. So you really want to be able to test that. It's a nice new feature. I haven't really played around with this, but we basically do that on our own sides. We basically create our own examples. Okay, and how do you create your own examples? You basically send a test email. Okay, so let's send it to this right here, Yahoo Mail, and send test. Okay, so you always want to send a test before you send out massive email newsletters. You don't want to send to everybody before you do tests, just because sometimes you have typos and it doesn't look perfect on mobile, etc. Okay, so here's my test. Okay, right here, here's the subject line. Here's how it looks. Looks good. Okay, I have a clickable button, etc. Now, so let's click on save right here, and because I didn't create an actual name of the template, let's just call it Circuit Test 1. Okay, let's click on save. Okay, perfect. Now I have a template. Now every time I want to create a new campaign, a new newsletter, I can actually use this template or others to actually have a quicker starting point. Okay, so let's create a campaign, our first campaign. Okay. Now, there are many different types of campaigns, and in this video, I'm just going to show you a regular one, and in future videos, especially going to do the A/B testing one. But for now, they're just different types of campaigns. One are a simple campaign, the other one's testing to optimize your campaign, etc. Okay, so let's click on regular campaign, click on select. So now I'm going to actually specify this campaign. Which list am I sending to? So if you remember, we created this list right here, okay? Am I going to send to the entire list? In this case, we only have 3. Or am I going to actually create a group or a segment to segment part of that group? Okay, so again, very important. The more you can actually segment and send more personalized emails, the better. The better conversion, the more happy your subscribers are, etc. So in this case, let's click on continue. Your navigation is on the bottom. Right now I'm on the first one. Let's click on next. Okay, now I'm going to the setup side. Perfect. What is the name of my campaign? Let's call it, first subscribers. Okay. What is the email subject? Let's do this. Thanks for subscribing. We want to give you something. Okay. Now the email, the subject itself is very, very important. For example, this is the subject line. So as you know, people get tons and tons of emails, and really the subject line is one of the most important things, because if the subject is not interesting, they're just going to delete it, spam it, and the subject line is going to depend or influence if a subscriber is actually going to open the email or do other stuff. So you really want to think about how attractive and how straightforward your subject line is for your customer. Okay. So in this case, it's a pretty long one, but you really need to think about a better one. Okay, what is my from name? What is my from address, etc. Okay, next. Very important things. I want to track opens. Okay, I want to see how many people open the email. I want to see how many people click on my links that are in the email. So if you have any images or buttons, for example, we created a button before that this clicks, I want to actually see how many people click on it. So by having these checkboxes filled up, you'll receive an automatic Mailchimp code to actually track these stuff for you and provide information. Okay, clicking on Google Analytics link tracking. Okay, very, very important. So if you remembered before, I actually went to the integrations when we went to my account, and I synced or linked to the Google Analytics code. So if you check this, anytime someone clicks on a link to go to your website from your newsletter, Google Analytics will know that it came from the specific campaign that we're creating right now. In this case, it's just called First Subscribers. Okay, great. Okay, and now you can actually override that by specifying the specific name of campaign here. So let's just call it GA. Okay, perfect. Let's look at a few other things that are very important. Okay, do I want to track e-commerce link tracking? Okay, so you have to link your specific e-commerce platform. Am I using other tools, for example, goal tracking or ClickTail? These are other services that you can link. Very, very important. Okay, so definitely analytics you want to do, and depending on what website you have, you want to actually link other things as well. Okay, perfect. Next thing, you can also auto tweet them. You can connect your account and have Mailchimp tweet from your account. And if you embed a YouTube video, you want to check this to actually try to embed the video inside the email rather than either not loading it or just loading a link. Okay, so let's continue to the next thing. Next. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to select the template. Either I create a new one, or what we did before is I have a saved template, in this case right here. Okay, so I'm going to select it, and I'm going to start using this template and then editing what I want before. Okay, so let's actually click here, and let's go here and click on merge tags, and I'm going to click on fname. Okay, so if you remember before, the shortcut for first name is called fname. So basically you go here to the editor and you click on merge tags, and it'll add this kind of asterisk pipe, fname pipe asterisk by itself. So you don't really have to remember it, but you'll be able to do it from here. Okay. Now you can actually, in addition to the specific fields, email, first name, you actually have some more information here as well you can do. Okay. And again, the more you know about your subscriber, the better. So let's click, and let's say I finished my email newsletter, finished, and it's ready to go. Okay, so I think it's ready to go. So same thing, first you want to preview it. Okay, so let's actually send a test email, same thing. And let's click on send, and let's go here. Okay, so let's wait a second and go back. Let's see here. Okay, so now it's sent, and we have to wait a second. So let's move on to the next thing. Okay, so let's go to next, and let's try one more time. Okay, I got my email. Here's my. Of course, it says test in the beginning, so it's not a real email. Thanks for subscribing, etc. Good. Now I can see it. Okay. And I know that it actually filled up the test first name correctly. Okay, and my email looks good, everything looks good. Okay, so now that I've confirmed everything's good, now I'm on my confirm, the last step. So now I'll be able to see these kind of checkpoints to see if I've actually done everything correctly. So I selected the list. This is my list name. I want to confirm, is this correct? Yes, no. I want to see if I have any segments or anything like that. My subject line looks good. Replies, I have tracking, all of this stuff. I disabled social cards. In this case, social cards will, if someone, let's look at right here, if someone actually opens your campaign in Twitter, or opens in Twitter or Facebook, you'll be able to actually see more information for them to expand and open up that newsletter. So it's a good thing to have. So let's actually do this. So thanks for subscribing, and this is a test. Okay, so I'm going to click here. Now I have social cards. Perfect. So it'll basically expand, especially for Twitter. It'll enable a customer to actually see more information about the newsletter before they actually click on it. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so and this is basically the Mailchimp affiliate link, which in this case I don't really want to have. I just want to have my newsletter. I don't want to promote anything right here. So I'm going to go here and actually remove this. Okay, perfect. Save. Let's go next again. And now I have a summary. Okay, that's it. Okay, perfect. So now that I'm ready, I have two options. Okay, or three options. I can save and exit and do it later, or I can send it immediately by clicking here, or I can schedule it. Okay, if I click on schedule, I go here and I specify the schedule. But in this case, I don't want to schedule it. Okay, so I'm going to click here, cancel, and I'm going to click on send. If I click on send, that's it. It'll send for me. And that's it. I got a high five from Mailchimp, and now I can see my campaigns here. Okay, so basically I created another campaign before just to show you a little bit of data, even though this is a test account. And I sent an email before which basically looked very similar, which was, let's look at this. this one right here. Okay, so I sent this and I created a link button, etc. So if you look at the campaign that I sent before, I had 2 subscribers, and you can view the specific data about this. So first of all, you can see the actual email preview. Okay, and the second thing is you can actually see the details. When was it sent? The subject line, the recipients, which list. Okay, you can see that. If you want to see even more detail, you can click on View Report, and now you'll have all of these tabs to see how many recipients, the list, the actual e-commerce data, if you plugged in e-commerce data goals, the open rate, right? I sent it to 2 people and actually opened it myself. The click rate, so how many people out of the total actually clicked on any of the links inside. So in this case, this is a link. Okay, so basically 1 person clicked, 1 person opened, 1 person clicked. No one bounced, so no emails actually were sent that were not legit emails or not correct emails or mistaken emails, and no one unsubscribed. Okay, how many deliveries, how many emails out of the entire email list, in this case 2 out of 2, were delivered correctly, how many opened, what was the last open, forward, etc. Okay, very, very important stuff. And then over the 24-hour period, you'll be able to see the performance. Okay, now because I enabled the clicks, if you remember in the settings, tracking clicks, in this case, this is a click to Circuit blog. So 2 things I want to show. So when I clicked on it, now Mailchimp will show you what is the link of the most popular clicks. Okay, in this case, I only have 1 button linking to the blog. That's it. And then who is the subscriber that had the most opens? Okay, so here you'll be able to see more data. For example, the location, the geolocation of the people opening, and it'll take a little time to sync this information. Okay. So if you remember, we synced before Google Analytics tracking. So if I, as a user, click on this link, I'll go to my blog, and in Google Analytics, you'll be able to see that I just clicked right here. Okay, let's go here for a second, and here is the visitor right here, and you can see that the user came and clicked here. So let's go here for a second. Okay, so you'll be able to see that Google Analytics actually tracked the click. Now, basically, let's go here. I'm missing one thing right here. So if I go back to my campaigns, right here, let's go here. So basically, the click on the actual button should have actually tracked the source the actual campaign of the newsletter, and it didn't. So I'm going to try to figure out what is happening right here. Okay, so let's go back to real time. Okay, visit of this page, and now I'm looking at the medium source to figure out which campaign the user actually came from. So let's go to details, view report, and I should have information here, but I don't. Okay, links. Okay, here's so we know we got click links. Okay, this is the click map to show you where it was actually clicked on. Okay. Okay, so let's actually do this in the new campaign, because I think this is an old campaign. So let's actually go here, and I want to show you this Google Analytics. Okay, so let's actually create a new campaign. We'll run through it really quickly just to show you. Actually, let's create a plain text campaign so it's a little bit quicker. And I'm going to send it to video 1 test. Okay, the latest one we created. And my name of the campaign is testing GA. Okay, email subject, testing GA from Circuit. Okay, track opens. Oh, excuse me. So opens cannot be tracked in. Let's see, right here. Cannot be tracked in text only in HTML ones, the ones that have images themselves or buttons. Okay, so I'm going to call it testing GA right here. And let's move on to the next. Okay, This is my email. This is how it looks. That's fine. Enter content here. Hello. Okay, actually, excuse me for that. Let's actually create a campaign one more time, which the campaign would be a regular campaign. Okay, try to run through it, but don't need to run. Okay, so next, my name is GA Test. The subject will be GA Test. I want to track analytics. This is going to be the title. And I want to go to next. I'm going to select my template one more time. Now I have a preview. Okay, and I'm going to make sure my button is clickable to my blog. Perfect. Click on next and click on send. Okay, perfect. So now I sent it. Okay, and now I have a new campaign right here called GA Test. So let's view the report. And now, of course, it was just sent, so data will have to propagate quickly. Okay, so let's look at my email right now. Okay, perfect. So now I have a new email, and it's called GA Test. Okay, so if I click on read more right here, it should track my link. Now if I go to analytics, I'll be able to see that I just had a visitor, and my medium is email, and my source is video 1 test. Okay, so now it actually tracked my email correctly and my click. So now Google Analytics will be able to see data about my medium and my source. Okay, so let's go here. Perfect. Okay, and you can see the campaign name, right? GA Test right there. Okay, perfect. So we got that done. Apologize for the small delay. It works now. Okay, so this is basically a quick overview of setting up an account, looking at making a list, figuring out how to actually get your subscribers to subscribe to the list, creating a template, and creating a campaign. Okay, so once you do that, of course, now you have some data about your campaigns. You want to optimize, figure out why people are unsubscribing, why people are not opening it, working with your subject lines, optimizing your campaigns, making sure they look correct in mobile and desktop, etc. For future, another thing that is very, very nice to actually see and use is automation. So in the future we'll make a video for automation, but basically this is a very, very powerful tool that allows you to create automatic emails based on certain rules. So for example, a very common one are for e-commerce websites. So if someone purchases a product, you will automatically sync orders and new subscribers to Mailchimp, and let's say send them a follow-up email 14 days later to ask them what they think about the product or if they have any questions. Or maybe you want to upsell things like maybe if you sell a renewable product, maybe let's say toothpaste, for example, then you may want to send them every single person that purchases a product called toothpaste or a category from the toothpaste, they'll be able to receive every 2 months a reminder, a renewal, things like that. So here you have templates you can kind of use, and you can most importantly create your own. And this is a very, very important thing. It's a very great service that you want to take leverage under. Okay, so that's it. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be very happy to help. And if you have any specific questions, I'll be very happy to create some videos about them in more detail. And in the future, also include a little bit more data so you can see more detailed reports and campaign data, for example. Okay, thank you for watching this video.